Welcome back to your math homework, boys and girls. Tonight we're going to again continue reviewing all the great things that we've learned in 5th grade so far this year. So we're going to do Module 1 mid-module review, and this is our part 2. So grab your flip video homework worksheet and let's get started. This worksheet starts with problem number 6, ultimately because I came up with a big worksheet and I split it in two. So if it starts with number 6, don't worry, you're not missing any problems. We are going to start right there tonight. So problem number 6 says, what number is 1/100th of 7 62 hundredths? Write an equation to show your thinking. So you might be thinking, what on earth are they talking about? What number is 1/100th of 7 62 hundredths? Well, the first thing they want us to do is think about writing an equation down. So they want us to write a number sentence thinking about what we know. Well, I know another way to write 1/100th is to write it like this, 0 and 0.1. So now if they want to find that much of 7 62 hundredths, think about what operation word might mean of. And if you don't know this yet, and if I haven't taught it to you yet, we're going to use this all year long. I'm going to help you out. It's multiplication. So think 7 and 62 hundredths. We're going to multiply it by 0 and 0.1. So we're going to multiply it by 1/100th. So pause for a second here. Think about how you could do that. How could you multiply by 1/100th using your place value chart? I'll give you a second to try this problem on your own and then play the video when you're ready to check your work. All right, boys and girls, so if we're thinking about a place value chart, I'm going to start with my number, right? 7 and 62 hundredths. Now we need to find a number that's 1/100th. So think about in the place value chart, the place value chart starts from our decimal point and we move from the tenths to the 100ths, right? It's getting smaller, isn't it, as we move to the hundredths place? Well, they want us to continue moving it to places smaller because they want to continue to find 1/100th of this number, 7 and 62 hundredths. So we're going to shift the number 2 places smaller. So see if you can do this with me if you didn't get this correct. So I'm going to shift the 2, move it 2 places. Going to shift the 6, move it 2 places. And shift the 7 to move it 2 places. Now my decimal point is going to be in the same spot, so I need to add a 0 in. So this one was a tricky problem to start off with, but the correct answer is 0.762, and we would say this as 762 10,000ths. That was a tricky one to start off with. All right, if you didn't get this correct, that's okay. You can write it down and try your best on the next one. All right, boys and girls, question number 7 asks us to do 2 things. We're going to first divide 241 by 10 to the 2nd power, and then B says 1 8/10 times 1,000. So I'd like you to see if you can pause the video right here, see if you can do this completely on your own, because we've done this quite a few times in class. So pause the video, try it on your own, and then see if you can check your work with me and see how you did. All right, so the first question, 241 divided by 10 to the 2nd power. First, I want to think about that 10 to the 2nd power. What does that actually mean? Well, remember, anything, the base number, we're going to multiply it by itself 2 times. So that means it's 10 times 10. So in other words, it means by 100. So we're going to take 241. Let's draw our place value chart if you need it. 241. And we're going to divide it. Here's my decimal point. 2 places smaller. So we're going to shift that number 2 places smaller. So here it is once. Here it is twice. And we shift the 2 places as well. So now let's look at our new number. Correct answer should be 2.41 or 2 and 41 hundredths for part A. Let's look at part B. It's asking us to multiply by 1,000. So 1 8/10 is what we're going to start off with. 1 8/10, and we're going to shift it not once, not twice, but 3 times bigger. So let's shift once, twice, 3 times. Here's our 1. Once, twice, 3 times. Here's our 8. And I have a couple of spaces before the decimal point, so I need to add those zeros in. So correct answer for part B is 1,800. Nicely done, boys and girls. Let's try the next problem. Question number 8 says, Jess drove 15 kilometers. How many meters did she drive? Write an equation to show your thinking, and then write an answer statement. So always the first thing we're going to do when we see conversions is look at our two conversions. So I have kilometers to meters. Which one is bigger, kilometers or meters? If you said kilometers, you're correct. So we're going from big to small. When we go to big to small, what operation are we doing? Yeah, multiplication. So let's write down an equation. So 15 kilometers times, now we have to think, how many meters in a kilometer? If you need your handy dandy conversion chart, hopefully you have it. If not, I did put a copy of one on our homework website. It is 1,000. So now see if you can pause the video here, multiply 15 kilometers times 1,000, and check back with me to see how you did. All right, if you need a place value chart, see if you can draw one up quick. So I'm going to start with 15, and I'm going to shift it bigger, not once, not twice, but 3 times. So here's our decimal point. So shift it once, twice, 3 times. Here's our 1. Once, twice, 3 times. Here's our 5. And I'm going to add in any zeros before and after the decimal. So the correct answer should be 15000, which we're going to throw a comma in there. 15,000 meters. We got to label it as because we changed it to meters. So we know Jess drove, and we'll write an answer statement. Jess drove 15,000 meters. Awesome job. All right, almost done. Only 2 questions left. For number 9, it's also a conversion problem. It says a snake measures 32 centimeters. How many meters long is it? Write an equation to show your thinking. So again, we're going from centimeters to meters. So this time, which way are we going? Big to small or small to big? Think, which is bigger, centimeter or a meter? If you said a meter is bigger, you're right. So this time we're going from small to big, small to big. When we go from small to big, what operation are we doing? Division or multiplication? Yeah, we're dividing. So 32 divided by, again, you might need your handy dandy conversion chart. How many centimeters in a meter? Some of you might know this. If you didn't, you might have to look it up. It's 100. So see if you can pause the video here. Divide 32 by 100, either in your head or using a place value chart, and check back with me to see how you did. All right, gang, if you drew a place value chart, which I'm going to, so here's my decimal here, and I'm going to make it smaller. Oops, I wrote my number in the wrong spot. That's okay. I'm going to make it smaller, not once, but 2 times. So shift that number once, twice. Here's my 2. Once, twice. Here's my 3. And my decimal's right here. So the correct answer is decimal point 32 or 0.32. And it says to write an answer statement. So we're going to write that down. So we're going to say a snake measures 0.32 meters, because we had to convert from meters. We went from centimeters to meters. Nicely done. All right, last problem. All right, here we go, boys and girls. 10 says, write the following number in the forms below. So they want us to write this number, 0.657, in word form and expanded form. So see if you can pause the video here, try it on your own first, and then see if you can write those down, word form and expanded form, and then pause, and then play the video to check your work. So word form's a little tricky because you really have to think about how this number is said. So first I see a 0. So you don't need to say decimal point, but you do need to say 657. Now think about what place that 7 is in. 657 what? If you said thousands, you're correct. So now on the line, let's write it down. So 657, and this is where we know it's a decimal point right here. Hundreds. E-D-T-H-S. That T-H-S always clues us in that it is a decimal point. So 657 hundredths. My writing is a little bit sloppy on the iPad, so my apologies. Now it says expanded form. So remember, expanded form, we're going to take each digit and multiply it by its value. So the first digit is a 0, and I don't have to do anything with that because it's a 0. It's just holding my place. The first number is a 6. So I can write this 2 different ways. So I can start with 6. Think about what place 6 is in. 6 is in the tenths place. So I either can write it like this, 0.1, or this is another way you can write it, 6 times 1/10. So as a fraction. So follow along. So that's the first digit. Now we're going to move on to my next digit, which is the 5. So I'm going to add 5 times, what place is the 5 in? 5 is in the hundredths place. That's right. So 0.01, or write it as a fraction, 1/100. Excellent. Last digit is a 7. The 7 is in the what place value? 7 is in the thousandths place value. Nice job. So it's either 1 over 1,000. Oops, I wrote that in the wrong spot, didn't I? Oh, well, you get the point. 0 and 001. So that's how I would write those as expanded form. Super, super job. All right, 10B, last problem. We're rounding 8 and 657 hundredths to the nearest one whole. So nearest whole number. So again, pause the video here, see if you can try this on your own, and check your work with me when you're ready. So remember our rounding rhyme, 8 and 657 thousandths. We find the place. Now, which digit is in the ones place? If you said the 8, you're correct. Find the place, look next door. Is 6 5 or higher? It is. So guess what? We're going to add one more onto the place that we started with. So 8 changes to 9, and everything else behind it changes to zeros. So answer is either 9.000, or we can just say plain old 9. Great job, boys and girls. I'm looking forward to see how you did for the first, our mid-module quiz coming up very, very shortly. I hope you had a great time reviewing, and I will see you soon. Bye.